All right, welcome to Tribulation Day 106. And the world continues to spiral downwards into chaos. You know, it's Sunday morning out here on the West Coast in San Jose, California. The weird weather pattern continues. The wind always seems to blow north to south. We always have kind of coldness in the morning and overcast clouds, weird looking clouds. Once it blows out, even as the sun is just blazingly hot, there's weird clouds in the sky all day long. I want to welcome all my brothers and sisters out there and any open-minded people who are watching this blog. Hurricane Irene kind of, it's making its journey across the east coast of California. Seems like it's hitting, every big city, but, the good news is it's a Category 1 and there's lots of flooding damages. There's been some deaths, but it's not Katrina. But still, it might be a sign of something as far as what's happening to us as a society, us as a country, and us as a planet. I had to put a lot of thought to where I'm at this point in the tribulation, because I wouldn't be doing this tribulation if I didn't believe that something was up, that me as a person, we as a society, and we as a world, a planet, are on the cusp, as a civilization, as humanity, are on the cusp of something. The end. And there is no end, because no matter what angle you're looking at this from, either the earth continues on, or even beyond the earth, there's something else. At least for some of us. For others, who knows? But, that's one of the things that I've had to wrestle with the tribulation. Part of why are we going through the tribulation? It's a test. It's a refinement of character. It's to bring about a realization of what our values should be. And the bottom line is, if you don't come to the right realization, then maybe you are doomed. Going back to the Bible, the Old Testament, one of the biggest concepts and stories in the Bible is the deluge, or the flooding of the world, the days of Noah. In theory, God flooded the world to do something, and I actually think he could have been accomplishing several things. But one of the aspects of the story is that as Noah, on faith, built an ark. And what the purpose of the ark was, that's a concept in itself, but the vast majority of people around him were ridiculing him, and they were just going about their lives, and their focus was on their own satisfying their own lust for entertainment and whatever else, and acquisition of material goods, wealth. So they didn't have time to build their own arks. But anyway, myself, that's kind of, what I'm coming to the realization of, is that in this time of tribulation, it's kind of coming down to what the hell's going on, and a way for me to put a frame around it, a box around it, so that you can see it, is, at least in my opinion, all of us, we're having to figure out what is the truth about who we are and what reality is. And if you frame it up like that, we have to figure out what the truth is. Then the opposite side of that coin, kind of a yin-yang thing, is that if we have to figure out what the truth is, that means there could possibly be a deception in front of us, which is why we can't see the truth. And you know what? That's where I'm at, because I think that's what's going on, is there is a great deception, a great lie, and that's part of the tribulation, is figuring out what is the truth. Now, like I said, it's like a coin, yin and yang, black versus white, day versus night, good versus evil. For some people, they probably frame it up where they say it's a balance, good and evil, white and black, day and night. They have to balance each other perfectly, 50-50. So good is no stronger than bad. And like if you followed the Star Wars series, using the Force, Luke Skywalker, who came from his father, Darth Vader. But, what happens in that that's kind of like a good versus bad, the evil empire versus the Force. But in the long run, you lose focus of who's actually good or bad. And, I think it's presented where, they might be kind of equal. But, you know what, maybe I missed the mark on that series, because the other way of looking at it, the other way of framing up the yin and the yang is that, yes, you give what you get. So if you do good, you might receive some good back. If you give love, you'll get love. But if you're hating, you'll get hate. But a way to look at it too is that it's not a balance. Not at all. That God, the light, is superior. And that what's going on in reality is actually a plan drawn up by the good God. And ultimately evil will fail because it's not equal or balanced. That's part of the end, and the end is maybe the end of evil. Not the end of everybody, but if you're evil, it might be the end of you. So that's where, we all got to reassess our values. And that's kind of part of my confrontation concept, is in order to confront the future, you need to know what side you're on. And in that regard, it's us, they. Good versus evil. But, the part of us, they that I don't buy is class warfare, or separation by religion, or separation by politics, left versus right. Those are just illusions. Those are deceptive tools set in place just to pit, people against each other so that they're blind to what the real truth is. But what I will tell you is, if you do frame it up like that it is good versus evil and it's not balanced, that good wins and evil might just get kicked to the curb, then that means there's a war going on. And there has been a war going on ever since evil raised its head. And that's what we gotta, you gotta understand, is what is evil. And you know what, there is evil. Some people don't believe there's evil. But if you murder somebody, that's evil. If you lie, that's evil. For me as a person, there's things that if you do, I can't accept you in my life. I can't have you around me. Murdering and stealing are two of them. It's just how it is. But in the battle of good versus evil, good wins, so that's kind of what happens in the Bible. Good wins, in Revelations. And, one of the things they talk about, because it is a war, is the battle of Armageddon. And to me, if anything, that may be where we're at, is we're approaching a transformative point where good versus evil reaches ahead with this ultimate battle. Because if you understand the concept, after the battle of Armageddon, evil is thoroughly destroyed. And life goes on, but the evil forces are vanquished. You know, it's not about balance. It's about them losing. And, you know, what's funny is, like I said at the start of this blog, you know, we got to figure out what the truth is, which then implies that there is a great deception, which then leads to the further extrapolation of it's good versus evil. And like I said, it's not a balance, it's about good winning. But then you go back to, like, the first story that's really in the Bible, which is, you know, in Genesis 1, which is Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. And, you know, the battle started even before that. But let's just take that as a relative point to contemplate. But Adam and Eve in the garden, you know, some people think it's a myth, but the story goes that the serpent, or Lucifer, tempted the woman to eat of the tree of life, the tree of knowledge, the knowledge of good and evil. And God had instructed Adam and Eve, you know, do whatever the hell you want, but don't eat of the tree of life, the tree of knowledge. And, you know, the story goes that Lucifer basically said, you know, the reason he told you that, because if you eat of this apple, you will be like a god. So right there, that's the first big lie. But, you know, the theory goes Eve fell for it, and eventually Adam kind of fell for it too. You know, Adam may have had some additional motivations, but they both ate of the apple, which was supposed to give them the knowledge of good versus evil. And what's strange is here we are, perhaps at the end times, and we can't figure out the truth. Good versus evil. You know, who's good, who's evil? What the hell's going on? So think about it. That was the start, or at least the human involvement, or at least from the perspective of Adam and Eve, because maybe they weren't the first humans, you know, but whether they were or weren't, that's when the human race got sucked into the war, because it wasn't our war. We were not at war with good. We were not at war with God. We were God's friend. In fact, we were his children. We were created in his image. And you know what? I do believe that. Humans are special. We're very special. And that's the bond we have. You know, that's why I said welcome to my brothers and sisters out there. Because if you see life the way I do, then you are my brother. And you are my sister. And you know, that's my good news for you. Is that even though something may be coming down the pipeline, you know, in the battle of good versus evil, know which side you're on and we'll get through it. Because there's a lot of good news regarding the battle. As horrific as it seems, you know, on the verge of us thinking that we're going to lose it, there's a surprise ending. You know, that's how that works out. You know, I'm going to kind of continue this thought in a second blog today, but I'm going to kind of sign out of this one. And once again, all the people on the East Coast, my cousins, the tribulation of the hurricane, as you can see, you survived it. You made it through. A few people didn't, but as a whole, Hurricane Irene was not the catastrophic, you know, end-all, be-all storm, you know, but that doesn't mean there isn't more challenges right around the corner for us. All right, peace out.